Exodus 29, verse 26. It shall be your portion. So this is Exodus 29, and in this chapter, it mostly talks about the consecration of Aaron and his sons and the priests. So basically, in this part of the chapter, it's talking about the sacrifice of the animals and how the remaining meat portions of the rams, which were the animals sacrificed, were given to Aaron and the priest. And what this symbolically represents is the continuous relationship, our continuous relationship with God. Because after the cleaning and the sacrifice and, the clothing of the priests, now they had to take this sacrifice into themselves. They had to eat the sacrifice. And in the same way, that symbolically represents us taking Jesus into ourselves. Because Jesus was the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice. And in Exodus 29:36, it talks about this. And you shall offer a bull every day as a sin offering for atonement. Every day, the priest had to sacrifice another large animal because one wasn't enough. This daily ritual reminded, all of the priests that it wasn't any sacrifice that could take away sin. And it only provided a temporary covering. But through Jesus, that was changed, because through the death of Jesus, our debt was paid permanently. It was just paid completely. And so there's no other sacrifice except sacrifices for God that we should make. Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice. And now we are called to just take Jesus into ourselves. And what that means, taking Jesus into ourselves, is surrendering our lives to him, actively surrendering our lives to him. And, talking about eating is personal. No one can eat for you, and so no one can have a relationship with Jesus for you either. You have to have a personal relationship with Jesus. Second, eating is inward. It does no good to be around food or to rub food on your body, because if you're hungry, you have to satisfy that hunger. And being around food, trust me, it does not help. It just makes you hungrier. And then rubbing it on your body, it doesn't do anything either. But what I mean by that is that we must take Jesus into ourselves inwardly, not merely in an external way. Eating is active as well. We must continuously take Jesus into ourselves every day. And there's another verse that talks about this. Exodus 29:38. 2 yearling lambs day by day continually. So that's not the full verse, but what it's talking about is God is commanding Moses to tell Aaron and the priests to just give a lamb to sacrifice to God day by day, every single day, in the morning and in the night. And in the same way, we are called to sacrifice to Jesus every day. We are called to sacrifice our time. We are called to spend time with Jesus, to follow him continuously, every single day. Because once we give our lives to Jesus, it doesn't just stop there, it keeps going. So we have to give our lives to Jesus continually, because it does not stop when we give our lives to him. And fourth, eating arises out of a sense of need, and it also produces a sense of satisfaction. We have to recognize our need for Jesus, and when we continuously take Jesus into ourselves and follow him and seek him, we will receive the satisfaction of a relationship with Jesus. because no one and nothing else can satisfy you like Jesus can. Like a relationship with the Father can. And so, yeah, there are so many verses that connect. Like, I just read so many verses right now, like 3. But there's another verse, which is Exodus 29:43. I will meet the Israelites. And what I want to talk about this verse is that God wanted both consecrated priests and a worshiping nation, not simply because he wanted a well-trained workforce, but so that he could also meet with and speak to his people. God wants us to surrender ourselves to him and to constantly seek him because he wants to speak to us and he wants to be close to us. And that is what consecration means. As a believer, that is what consecration is. Surrendering ourselves completely to God and separating ourselves from worldly things and worldly traditions and just recognizing our need for God and his authority. And as we do this, we facilitate a deeper relationship with God, which allows God to be closer to us. And that is what he wants. He doesn't just want a worshiping nation. He doesn't just want us to worship him and, to seek him and to serve him, but he wants us to do these things not just because he wants us to be able to work in his kingdom, but because he wants to be close to us. And these things help us to facilitate a deeper relationship with him. So I really do hope that you understood everything I said. But that is what I wanted to say in this video. And so, yeah. Eating is an active action. And so we have to actively take Jesus into ourselves, because the reason why Jesus encourages us to do this, the reason why God wants us to consistently take him into ourselves, is so that we can actually be closer to him and so that he can be able to speak to us and connect with us. That is literally what Jesus wants. God wants to have a relationship with us. And yes, he wants us to be able to work in his kingdom, but primarily he wants us to have a relationship with him, and he wants us to be connected with him. And so, yeah, I just keep saying yeah, but that is basically what I wanted this video to be about. Just about reminding you to seek Jesus every single day so that you can foster a deeper relationship with him. If you really want to be close to God, and if you want him to speak to you, and if you want to have a deeper connection with him, you have to seek him every day. Not just one day of the week, or 2 days of the week, or 3, every single day of your life. Seek Jesus, and you will see change. You will foster a deeper relationship with God. And of course, there are so many testimonies out there that prove to be so, including mine. So I've literally gotten so close to God, and that's because I've spent time with him every day. You just have to dedicate time to God, and he will be there. He's always there, listening to you and just waiting for you to draw near to him so that you can draw near, so that he can draw near to you. Anyways, God bless you, and I love you. I love all of you.